Arise, South Africa, arise. Arise. Phambili, arise, phambili.
Phambili.
Power to the people. Arise. Thank you very much. We will all be seated. I want to start by thanking the Honorable Secretary General of Arise South Africa. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the leaders of Arise South Africa. I've seen many chairpersons of our movement. Some chairpersons have traveled quite far and some near. I'm seeing the chairperson of Limpopo there at the back and many other honorable leaders within our movement. Thank you so much for availing yourself for this history-making day where we share the vision or the manifesto of Africa. I think all of us, if we've ever wondered why is a political party called Arise, I believe that in the times that we are in today, we begin to see why it's important to rise. Because the word arise, it's an awakening. It's a rude awakening. Usually somebody would say, may you please get up. Or usually somebody would say, can you please come with me? But if somebody says to you, arise, it's an action word. It's a declaration. It's a power word. It's a doing word. And we understand from what we've been to and what we've experienced as Arise South Africa, that indeed we must embody the word of our movement, which is to arise. It's important that no matter what hurdles get thrown at us on our journey to liberate our nation, it's important that whatever we go through, whatever we experience, we have to arise. When we look at the logo of Arise South Africa, and the logo of Arise South Africa is an eagle. Now, it's well known that an eagle doesn't perform at its best when the wind is not there. An eagle doesn't perform at its best when the skies are clear and it's an easy sort of process. An eagle is actually a bird that actually performs best when there are pressures, when there are thunderstorms, when the weather does not allow it to actually fly. That's when an eagle flies and defies many laws in nature, where many other birds would hide away. Eagle decides to attack in that moment. What we are seeing with Arise South Africa is that each and every one of us are called to represent our Lord. To be that eagle in a time where it might not be favorable to be in politics. Time in our country unemployed and despondent. In a time in our country where many people no longer believe, in our country where the storms that are facing navigate, and we look why we are the eagle. That's why each leader of Arise South Africa embodies that vision and tenacity and the boldness of an eagle. Because we are at a place in our nation where it is a defining and a trying time in our nation. This is only time in our nation where only eagles are needed to be able to fix the challenges of our nation. Eagles, unfortunately, when everything is good and everything is calm, eagles usually do not go out. But when the storm is raging, that's when the eagles go out. And Arise South Africa is going to an election where the storms of South Africa are raging. We have an unprecedented amount of people in this country that live in poverty. We have the highest youth unemployment, with majority youth. 2 out of every 3 young people in this country are unemployed. We have crime statistics that are shocking, where murder rates in this country are absolutely shocking. We have an economy that is still not transformed, that only seems to be in the hands of a few people. We have an education that is creating graduates that end up begging and looking for jobs on a daily basis without finding them. And in the global space, we seem to be having headwinds of our economy not growing in the way that it should grow. a country with so much mineral resources and potential, yet we still do not have the jobs that we so need. This is the perfect time for eagles to come out. This is the perfect time for each and every one of us to arise. This is the perfect time for the eagle in each and every one of the leaders of Arise South Africa to come out and weather the storm. We had to come out in this time when there is a storm, because that's how the eagle functions. And one of the things that we need to resolve and do is to not back down from the challenges that exist. With our country faced with so many challenges, we have people that have solutions. And we that have solutions must stand up and lead and help South Africa weather the storm that we are currently experiencing. One of the beautiful things about our country is that our country has got mineral resources. We sit in a country where we've got over $2 trillion worth of mineral resource in the country. This is mineral resource that we can use to create jobs. This is mineral resources that we can use to grow our economies. This is mineral resources that we can use to fund the small business. This is mineral resources that we can use to pump money into proper, quality, and free education. These are mineral resources which many other countries out there have been able to use to build their economies. In South Africa, we are a people of gold, silver, platinum, diamond, vanadium, titanium, manganese. We are not saying that these things are to come. This is researched and evidence that this is in our land. We are able to use these minerals to ensure that we create opportunities, to ensure that we fund the much necessary industries that we need to fund in South Africa. One of the beautiful phenomena of this country is that anything grows in South Africa. People have come to say and try that would this specific plant grow in South Africa? And after planting it, it grows. There is no plant in the world, including plants which people find to be controversial, like cannabis, that does not grow in South Africa. People have asked themselves questions to say, how can a country be able to grow mangoes, lychees, apples, strawberries, bananas, potatoes, every fruit and vegetable that can be grown, we are able to grow in our land. Our conditions are conducive for us to be able to produce food. We have enough land that can be shared amongst all that live in South Africa to ensure that our country functions. We want to ensure that our agricultural industry is a backbone of this nation, able to create jobs for the many people that need the jobs out there, and able to grow our economy. Now, we wouldn't do our conversation justice or our manifesto justice if we didn't speak about the crime and the corruption within our land. When you look at our manifesto, it's a 75-page document that goes into details in each and every industry, the ideas that we would do to implement in the country. The one thing we wanted to do when we created our manifesto, we wanted to ensure that we use tried and tested methods that other countries have been able to do, so that we are not experimenting, but we are actually implementing. We can all agree here to say if something has been done, it means that there is a rule book, there is a playbook, there is a method that can be followed. There are methods to every single solution that Arise South Africa puts forward in our country. Our crime and our corruption in this country. It's no secret that we lose a lot of money each and every year to corruption in our country. It's no secret that women and our country feel very unsafe on a daily basis. And that's why it's important that the solutions that Arise South Africa has to fight our crime and our corruption are implemented. Solutions where we begin to train our officials that deal with crime and corruption to be able to identify trends and ensure that they actually resolve them. Technological solutions like blockchain technology that can fix our justice system, that can fix our NPA, our National Prosecuting Authority, ensuring that we remove politicians from the crime and corruption fighting entities in our nation and bring back professionalism and bureaucracy within those institutions so that politicians are not meddling with crime. Politicians are not deciding what cases should be investigated, and ensure that the independence of our courts and our justice system is truly sustained in our nation. It also becomes important for us to use our prisons not just as places where gangs go and breed more gangsters, but as true rehabilitation centers where we can prove that criminals can go in and through training and education, they can come out better citizens that will not commit crimes in our nation. It becomes important that we deal with crime and corruption by understanding that many of the people in our country that participate in crime, especially young people, are doing so because there are no opportunities in our land. And it becomes important to understand that by us creating jobs, using our mineral resource and our energy, by us creating jobs, using the land and the agriculture industry that we've got, we are able to reduce crime statistics because our people will have opportunities. Manufacturing. I believe that Africa is the bedrock of anything we see today. There are a lot of technologies out there that have been investigated, that have proven to us that it is possible for Africa to produce finished goods. Manufacturing hubs need to be built in our rural areas and the different provinces that we've got in our nation, where we ensure that the local economy at the rural stage, the local economy is bolstered and new economies are created because of manufacturing. There's absolutely nothing that we cannot manufacture in our country. We have the minerals, we have the land to grow anything. And because of that, manufacturing hubs must be built to ensure that our country is manufacturing things. And when we talk about manufacturing, a lot of people like to limit Africa to manufacturing goods and services that might cost less than what they think we're able to manufacture. We are not only talking about the small goods and services. We are also talking about the automotive industry. We are talking about the military industry. We're talking about the aerospace industry because the minerals we have are capable and able to be able to manufacture. Move forward to tourism. The ideas that we put forth on tourism would be able to allow our nation to continue to build on what we've already started. Parks that represent what we have in our nation. If you think of things like Disneyland, Africa is ripe to create our own, not what they have done, our own that represent the stories of Africa, our own theme parks, our own new cities that will focus on ensuring that the world spends in Africa, that will ensure that tourism is able to bring us and build us many more jobs in our nation. When we talk about infrastructure, it's no secret that the infrastructure in our country is not maintained and the infrastructure in our country has not been developed. And that's why it becomes important that Arise South Africa will focus on ensuring that we develop world-class infrastructure that will attract world-class projects and world-class finances to be able to build a country. We want to also ensure that what is known as the per capita earnings or the wealth inequality in our nation is done away with. We cannot have a nation where the difference between the rich and the poor is the biggest gap in the world. We need to ensure that this comes to an end. We need to ensure that the wealth is distributed properly amongst our people, using methods that have been done that will not damage the economy, but actually grow the economy. Because the big lie out there that has been told is that when we empower our people, we have to do it by taking away from somewhere else. That is not true. Economies are built by actually building and empowering our people to be able to contribute and participate in the economy. Education. We believe that our educational system must be overhauled. The educational system that we have, it teaches many of our graduates and many of our scholars to become administrators of somebody else's wealth. We want to change this in our country, to teach education that will ensure that the people of South Africa become their own owners of the wealth that is in the country. We want to ensure that universities are built and fit for purpose. Universities that will focus on car manufacturing, because we have every mineral that there is to produce vehicles. Universities, technical colleges, TVET colleges that will focus on producing mobile cell phones and ensure that they produce final goods. Universities, institutions that will have a mandate to ensure that they are not just getting our graduates out on theory alone, but that when our graduates leave university, when they leave the colleges, they ensure that they've got tangible skills that they are able to use within the economy. We also want to ensure that our education does not just stop at theory. When a child has studied entrepreneurship and has done prototypes, the Department of Small Business must be able to link and finance that student that has been able to do that. We want to ensure that education is directly linked to government funding. We want to ensure that when young people learn and study, it doesn't just end at learning and study, but it actually ends in them utilizing the things that they've actually studied. We want to ensure that we begin to devise a program that will encourage our young people to study industries that will push the African agenda, to study things that will ensure that they are able to build a South Africa that we can all live in. If we're going to be spending so many billions on education, it becomes important for us to spend it wisely. Things like financial incentives on certain courses and skills that are needed in our country. We cannot have a country where certain skills are needed and companies are crying out each day saying there are critical skills they need and they have to import people to come and do those skills. We need to ensure that our students are given incentives to study things that are critical needs within our country. Our students must be given incentives to ensure that when they are studying, they are also preparing for the life after studying. We need to integrate our businesses to ensure that things like tenders are no longer just systems where people are given money and they buy final goods in China and come and distribute. But these are things that are linked to education, that are linked to ensuring that tangible jobs and manufacturing is done in our nation. Skills development. It's no secret that the world is changing on a daily basis. And as Arise South Africa, we understand this firsthand, that the fourth industrial revolution is needing to reskill the workforce to ensure that they are not afraid of what is going on, but they are able to embrace it and ensure that they change the nation. We will invest in skills development and reskilling our people so that they don't see the fourth industrial revolution as something that is happening to them, but they actually see it as something that they are in control of, something that they can actually use to grow our economy in Africa. When we talk about skills development, a lot of people only think about young people. We are not only focusing on young people. We're talking about developing skills within the whole nation. When we talk about the public sector, it is a known thing in this country that the moment somebody gets into government, they relax and they stop studying. We want to ensure that in every industry, there is a culture of upgrading our skills and learning. That things that will ensure that our educational workforce becomes better and more agile to deal with the developments and changes that the world is going through, that they are trained to ensure that they're able to handle it. Ensuring that those that are above 40, above 50, above 60, that do not have the relevant education to be able to deal with what the fourth industrial revolution is bringing, that they are re-skilled by government to ensure that they are able to participate and that they don't feel left out in our economy. Arise South Africa is a political party that believes that South Africa is for all and should benefit all. We're going to ensure that our sports and recreation is not something that's only left for private school kids in our country. Sports and recreation has been proven out there to be able to assist in many things like business, cognitive skills, and ensuring that a human being is developed to deal with the world. We want to bring back skills and sports in every school in our country. Ensure that our young people are trained and groomed, that talent can be scouted within townships, within rural areas, and we develop specific schools that we will know that this league of schools deals with soccer players. The same models that have been created in this country in terms of rugby, we want to ensure that the success that we've achieved in rugby can be duplicated in many other sports fraternities within our country, including soccer, which is in dire need of this. We also want to ensure that we focus on recreational activities. It's no secret that our townships, our rural areas, young people are invaded with drug abuse. Just around where we are right now in Alexandra, where many of our signatures came from and where many of our branches are located, many young people on a daily basis will let you know that there is nothing that they have to do. All they do is submit CVs. And because they are dormant of anything to do in terms of recreation, many of them fall into the trap of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, crime. We want to ensure that in areas there is a program that will allow our young people to have ways to be able to participate in recreational activities. This means investing, making sure that in areas where we find that drug abuse is prevalent, we ensure that we invest in recreational activities that can be a strong alternative to ensure that we get rid of drug abuse in our nation. The media. We must change the way the African story is told globally. We must ensure that there is a media propaganda that goes out there to tell the story and the success stories of many African businesses, of many ways that Africa is prospering and willing to do business with the rest of the world. It becomes important that our media becomes transformed. It becomes important that the stories that we see on our televisions, that the media articles that we see, the social media algorithms that are out there, we ensure that these are conducive things that are going to build our nation. It's no secret, and I've said it before, that the telecom companies or the telcos in this nation, they make a lot of profit by watching or allowing young people to watch pornography on their cell phones. These are things that we need to be relentless about tackling head on. Things like banning pornography. These are things that we must do without fear or favor to ensure that young people are using devices and technologies in a way that will be conducive towards our country. And as I bring it to a close, I believe that every South African, I want to encourage every South African to say, make sure you get a copy of our manifesto. We are not only going to stop by having a manifesto launch and that's it. We're going to ensure that we challenge the manifesto. We debate the manifesto. We understand the manifesto and we continue building on the manifesto. Our manifesto must and will be a living document that each and every one of us will ensure that we are building it on a daily basis. And in closing, I want to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, because many political parties in this country would like to keep Africans behind with where the world is going. The one thing we believe in Arise South Africa is that as South Africa, we are capable of competing with the world of where it is. Yes, we might be behind. We might be experiencing issues that are not part of the fourth industrial revolution. However, that does not count us out. We believe that technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, quantum computing. These are technologies that we can use to enhance our public service and change the future of all South Africans. We also believe that these are technologies that can be molded and guided and shaped to ensure that we don't threaten jobs and to ensure that we don't encroach upon humanity's privacy. It's important to understand that the fourth industrial revolution opens up an opportunity which Africa has not had for a very long time. For a very long time, as Africa, we've always been end producers or the last people to get involved with where the world is going. I always tell the story that it took the internet 7 years after it was functioning in other countries for it to actually come to Africa. It took the aeroplane flying for 60 years before it actually came to Africa. It took the steam engine 60 years before it actually came to Africa. In many of the industrial revolutions, Africa was last to adopt. It was as though the world will build and Africa will be an end user. We need to ensure that topics like the fourth industrial revolution are given the vigor, the energy, and the understanding that Africa has a role to play. It doesn't make sense that America is building robots, that China is building robots, and all we are contributing is the finished goods towards those robots, so the mineral resources for them to finish those goods. It doesn't make sense for us not to embrace these things and act as though we are afraid of them or don't understand them. It becomes important that we engage the fourth industrial revolution and we ensure that it becomes a real thing where we produce finished goods and services that will serve the world in the fourth industrial revolution that are created here in South Africa. In closing, I want to end it off by the analogy I started of the eagle. The one thing that I realized about the eagle, or that fascinated me about the eagle, is that the eagle likes to hunt prey that is alive. The eagle does not eat dead prey. The eagle from the sky is able to look at a fish that's swimming comfortably in the water and attack and ensure that it devours that fish. We are going towards an election. Out there are many political parties that might look like that fish that is alive. There are many political parties that might look like they are much more well-funded or much more well-oiled. There are many political parties that might look like they've already gone much further than where we are. I want to implore us to say, let us remember our character as leaders of Arise South Africa. Our character is that of an eagle. An eagle attacks that which is already moving. An eagle functions in environments that are most difficult. An eagle comes out and shows its true colors when there's lightning and thunder and things are not sitting well. That's when an eagle spreads its wings and flies over the horizon. I want to challenge us as leaders to say, as we are going out towards the election, let's ensure that we go out as eagles. Let's ensure that we don't go out there as chickens. Let's ensure that no matter how they look, no matter how fast they are running, no matter what they are doing, we are not afraid of them. We stand for the truth of which we started to stand for. Let's ensure that our voice is amplified as we go towards the election. And like the eagle, which many animals do not see coming, which strikes in less than 3 seconds, the eagle, which has vision and sees the target and attacks when many are not aware. Let's ensure that each and every one of us are like the eagle when we head towards the election. Let's ensure that we face it head on. As the storms come, let's ensure we face them head on. As the challenges come, let's ensure we become more bold and courageous like the eagle. And let's ensure that this year, in 2024, let's ensure that Arise South Africa stamps itself in history to say, regardless of the challenges, regardless of what we went through, regardless of what they put us through, we were like the eagle. We remained bold. We remained courageous. We spread our wings and we flew. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your speech. Well, can we please give him a last round of applause for that powerful speech? We will spread our wings as eagles and we will rise until we never fall. I'm just going to call on our SG to close for us. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here again today. Our SG is going to come and close for us. Guys, can we please stand up and give him a round of applause? This is a powerful moment. We are going to do this. We are going to make it. We are going to succeed. We are going to grow. And we are going to fly. Pata, President Mpho Dagada, Pata.
Pata. President Mpho Dagada.